Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Alamo City Sportscast. I'm your host, Joe Garcia, and show producer today. I'm going to be joined by the one and only Matt Lerma. Matt, how's it going?
It's going good, brother. How are you?
I'm doing good. We're broadcasting live from beautiful West San Antonio, otherwise known as the beautiful area of Marbach Road. Puro Exit 7 in the house over here. And we're going to be talking about a lot of things today. We're going to be talking about some comments here that I just saw on the Dan LeBatard show. We're going to go ahead and get into that and how he called San Antonio a boring city. And this is in regards to what Victor Wembanyama said in his interview as far as him not partying, not drinking, staying focused. He doesn't need none of that in his life. And they said some unkind words about San Antonio. We'll get into that. We'll talk about the NBA playoffs. We'll also talk about the Dallas Cowboys, and we're going to talk about some interesting things that Jerry Jones said. He's all in. He doubled downs on his phrase, all in, Matt. So we'll get into that. We'll talk about Reggie Bush getting his Heisman back. And I got another thing that we're going to talk about at the very end of the show here if we have enough time. So we got a lot of things to discuss here, Matt. You feeling good about today?
I'm feeling great, man. I feel like this was the perfect first day for me to be on the show, man. So
yeah, no
let's do
pressure
it.
because you don't have Mike with us, And we get to talk about the Spurs and Mike's favorite person here, Jeremy Sohan.
Yeah. Mike's gonna have to do a whole Twitter thread response to this, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's funny how Mike likes to go ahead and shit basically on Jeremy Sohan and some of the younger players, but it's funny how he says that, and he's that well, the eye test and this and that. You can say all you want, but the stats tell a different story. So we're going to get into that. So right off the bat, let's go ahead and play these comments from the Dan LeBatard show. So this is comments from their show on Monday. And again, this is in response to one Victor Wembanyama and his interview saying how he doesn't party, doesn't do a lot of things like that, kind of stays focused, very Spurs-like. And this is what they had to say, about Wemby's comments.
Finding bad things.
Yeah, I mean, it's just if you're going to tell me how perfect you are, I'm going to do a little digging.
It is aggressive to say immune to temptation. San Antonio is not going to offer that much in the way of temptation. It will help. I don't think you've heard of a lot of star players in San Antonio getting in any kind of trouble.
Nope. Duncan, Robinson. I mean, one's an admiral.
Why do you think that is, Dan?
Pretty boring. One of my the father's favorite vacation places, though. So strangely.
How's that river? I've heard they have a cool river.
That's all they have. I love a good boring vacation. Candy buttons. That's what it was.
I knew you had it wrong.
Well, anyway, that's what they had to say about this beautiful city of San Antonio that we call home. It's boring. We just have a river walk. There's nothing to do here. Kind of insinuating, do players actually want to do anything here as far as going out for the nightlife, getting in trouble, that kind of thing. I mean, what do you think, Matt?
Man, they should talk to Danny Green. He got himself into a lot of trouble down here, man.
Yeah.
I saw him in a lot of places. I mean, I get in trouble. So, if you're at where I'm at, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, bro. Like, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the city of San Antonio is one of these places that has a small town feel, but it's a big city. Everybody knows somebody, some way, somehow. Somebody in the city, no matter where you go. But the thing is, JHNSB saying audio is off. Matt sounds like he's in the Alamo Stadium. Well, sorry if the audio was off, but we'll go ahead and share the link, man. Either way, I don't care for the comments. I mean, everybody always has something negative to say about San Antonio. But the funny thing is, with Dan LeBatard saying these comments, his dad loves to vacation here. Dan LeBatard has been seen in the city of San Antonio on the Riverwalk, enjoying it, looking like he's having a good time. So I don't know if San Antonio is that boring of a city if you go ahead and frequent the city with your dad. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I think it's just weird. Sorry for the echo, guys. I don't know how to. But yeah. This whole thing is just weird, man. Like
There you go.
this whole San Antonio's boring thing. Like every city is what you make it. You could be bored in Miami. You could be bored in Orlando. You could be bored anywhere you are. You just have to go out, meet some good people, have some good drinks, good food, whatever. If that's not your thing, like Wemby, we got museums and things. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I've never heard anybody say, "Oh, the San Antonio museums are lacking" or anything. Like, there's lots of cool stuff here to do. You just have to get out there and make the best of it. If you want to try and say that San Antonio's boring, I just think that you're boring. You know.
Are you? He's boring, kind of like Mike Jimenez. That he's not here today. He's boring. We don't need him here for the show today. He's working though. He's working. I like to give Mike a lot of crap, and everybody's roasting him already because he had his pat down at the TSA today. So yeah, ha ha ha. So let's go ahead and start getting into some other stuff here. So one of the things that we're going to start talking about here is Mike's favorite player, and Mike, he likes to roast Jeremy Sohan. Mike's been known to say some unkind words about one Jeremy Sohan. But look at what this stat tells us from basketball. Look, it says the top 10 in matchup difficulty. You have Lugens Dortz, number 2 on the list. Jeremy Sohan, Alex Caruso, Jaden McDaniels, Dylan Brooks, Vince Williams Jr., OG Anunoby, Derek Jones, Isaac Okoro, should I say, and Malik Beasley. I mean, for everything that Mike says bad about one Jeremy Sohan, he made the list of most difficult matchups. I mean, what does that tell us about one Jeremy Sohan? You know how Mike is going to tell you, that the eye test tells you something different. And he also says Jeremy is a poor offensive, let's say, shooter. And he's not known for his offense. But I say that he's a decent enough defender. I think this supports it, Matt.
Yeah, it shows that he's one of the hardest working players in the league. He's taking on the tough matchup every night. He's not backing away from anybody. He might not be able to stop everybody on every play, but who can? There's no more lockdown defenders in the NBA anymore. Jeremy Sohan, Lou Dort, Alex Caruso, those are some of the best defenders in the league. So I feel like a lot of people think that everyone has to be like Kawhi was when he was, finals MVP, just taking the ball out of people's hands and stuff. Like, that kind of thing doesn't exist anymore in the NBA. Not even Kawhi does it anymore. So, like, I just feel that people give Jeremy Sohan a little too much trash for, developing his shot. Like, he's developing his shot in front of us. We've seen him get better. He's going to have ups and downs as he adjusts his shot. Anybody who tries changing the natural way they shoot the basketball is going to look bad at times. And I just feel like any one of us would do worse. And I know you can say, well, he's an NBA player, but we brought him in knowing that he needed to work on his shot. So we can't also shit on him for working on a shot, having the confidence to take the shot. Like when we had Kawhi, Pop had to beg him to take shots. And, I just don't see that ever being a thing with Jeremy. I think even if he's still working on a shot and it's not right where it needs to be, he still has the confidence to take the shot when he's open. And, once he gets the mechanics down and a free-flowing shot, hopefully in the next year or two, he's going to have those open looks and he's going to start draining those threes. And, he got that big game winner in his last game of the season. So, it's just he's getting better. If there's one thing you could say about the Spurs, is that they're getting better. And, when you take on a project player, when you take a lottery pick, they're not necessarily NBA ready. You're drafting them on their potential. So Jeremy Sohan, he is already a great defender. He's going to keep being a great defender. Now we just got to train him up on the offensive side of the ball. And just because when you're learning how to play offense, it doesn't look the greatest, it doesn't mean that you should trash the guy. He's still doing what we asked of him. He's still playing defense. And, post from Basketball Index like this prove that he's one of the top defenders in the league. He's taking on the toughest assignment. He's nobody on that list was like a defensive player of the year. You know what I mean? They weren't in the running for that, but they're the ones on the team that put in the hard work. And they don't get the defensive stats, but they are the ones slowing down the other team's best player. So I feel like they need to have a new advanced stat to kind of measure that, so that we could get a better look at how these teams are playing.
Yeah. So the thing is with Jeremy Sohan is that we have our usuals here, the people who support one Michael Jimenez, and Sean Quintero was in here saying because Jeremy Sohan is horrible, JHNSB worst player ever, and then you have Mario Cavazos. He's saying Jeremy Sohan is a kid in a grown man body. Give the kid time to develop a consistent 3-point shot. It's like. It says,
yeah, if you think that Jeremy Sohan is a horrible player, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, he's playing really well. He's always aggressive on defense. He's getting under the other team's skin. Like, Marquette Morris, or however you want to say his name, tried to punk Jeremy Sohan. He took him down to the ground. He got in a little scuffle with Amin Thompson, and Jeremy tripped him. It's like, he's our Draymond, and you need a player like Draymond to win championships. You could ask Steve Kerr, ask the GM over in Golden State. They always say that Draymond Green is what makes them a championship contending team. And, he takes it too far sometimes, especially with like choking Rudy Gobert and stuff. But, we can talk about that later. But at the same time, it's like you need somebody like that, someone who's going to do the dirty work, someone who's going to lead the team defensively and set the tone. And, Wemby's great and everything, but you need a glue guy, and I think Jeremy's that glue guy. So if you think that he's a horrible player, I question how much you understand basketball. Not to talk shit, but I just feel like you can say that his efficiency is bad, his offense is bad or whatever, but he brings a lot more to the table than just that.
Midtown Texas says, teach him the Bruce Bowen corner three.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, that would help his game a little bit.
Hey, the Spurs taught the league that one,
Oh yeah. So yeah, teach him the corner three. Somebody teach him how to shoot. It's like. And then Sean Quintero said something here that I want to share. He said he's had his whole life to fix, his shot. You don't do that in the NBA. And JHNSB says Jalen Williams, Walker Kessler, Peyton Watson, all drafted after Sohan.
Well, you think that, all right, so when you go to the NBA, you show the raw talent, you show some skill. Maybe you don't have the money to be hiring shooting coaches, bro. Like when you get to the NBA, you have a shooting coach for the first time. And Jimmy Barron has really worked with Jeremy, helped him. Like you can't just be like shitting on this kid for not having someone teaching him how to shoot the right way. He was playing basketball in England. What do they know over there?
Yeah.
Just like, come on. He came over here, had a one season at Baylor, coming off the bench, being the defensive guy over there. They saw the potential. The Spurs drafted him at 9. If you don't like it, whatever. Apply for the GM job at San Antonio. See if you could do better next time.
Yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and move on for the Jeremy Sohan talk here, because I know a lot of people feel a certain way about him. I mean, the kid he's okay, and I like the kid. That's all I'm gonna say. Hanover Fist says, "Who is LeBatard?"
Just that I wouldn't support Jeremy Sohan if he wasn't in silver and black. Like, that's strange. Like, of course, I'm not going to support him if he's not on the team I support. But I still wouldn't hate the kid. Maybe if he tripped Wemby instead of Amin Thompson, maybe okay. But that's just like a weird thing to say. That's like saying you wouldn't think the Cowboys were good if you weren't a Cowboys fan. Like that's.
I like JHNSB's comment here. He goes, Mamu is 10 times better simply because he makes Wemby better. No lies detected here. We saw that there is definitely some chemistry there with Mamu and with Wemby on the court together. I liked Mamu on the court with Wemby more so than I liked Mamu on the court with Zach Collins. That's just me personally. I think all the Spurs fans kind of saw that, hey, man, maybe we got something here in Mamu, because Mamu did have 3 impressive games. I'm not going to lie,
Yeah, no, Mamu is great. I've said several times in the spaces since that game that I just want to live in a world where Julian Champagny and Trey Jones are coming off the bench, and Mamu has more minutes in the rotation than Zach Collins. I just want, if we could get to that, I think we'd be in a good spot.
Well, Zach didn't get the nickname Booty Crumbs for no reason. If he doesn't like it, do better, Zach. Do better. And we've been told that he knows that we call him Booty Crumbs, so I don't really care either way. I'll tell him.
Yeah, no, yeah. I've been for sure told that he knows.
So we're gonna go ahead and move on here and talk about another stat that I saw here on the basketball index. And I went ahead and put this out on the X, and it says top 10 forward centers and pull up 3-point percentage, and that's gonna be Duncan Robinson, Kawhi Leonard, Trey Murphy the third, Bojan Bogdanovic, and you have one Victor Wembanyama at 37.5. And I know Mike. He's going to say, well, that's not a very good shooting percentage from beyond the arc. I'm just like, it's good enough for top 5, Mike. Like Victor Wembanyama is doing okay, shooting from beyond the arc. This is the worst we're going to see of Wemby, right? In year one Wemby. He's just going to get better from here on out. So who's to say that right now his shooting percentage is good enough for top 5 from beyond the arc at 37.5%? But who's to say that's not going to get better in year 2?
It's crazy, man. Top 5 already. Top defender, he's going to be on the all defensive team. I'm pretty sure he's going to be on that first team. And, defensive player of the year. On the offensive side of the ball, he's already a top 5 3-point shooter. Like, this kid is going up. There's nowhere that he can't go. I feel like he's going to amaze us all. He might be at the top of that list soon, and I'm here for it. If there's one weakness, I guess, in his game, it's his 3-point shot. But, people with arms that long aren't supposed to be able to hit shots like that, and he is a top 5 shooter already. So if he can get better, like, that's crazy. And if the worst thing you could say about Wemby is that he's at 37% from the 3-point line, then I think that we're in a pretty good position,
Yeah. So, year 1 Wemby is the worst we're ever going to see a Wemby. He's going to get better in year 2, year 3, year 4. He's going to be one of these guys that I think is going to change the complexion of the game as far as what it means to play at his size and with his skill set. Wemby is going to be a generational talent, I think. I know some people say, well, that's kind of saying, taking a little bit too far, but I don't know, man. The kid, from what I've seen when I go to games and I've seen him, even in the silver and black scrimmage game that they had, seeing what he was able to do, and he's showing off, man. He was out there before the game, putting the ball between his legs and dunking it, just throwing it off the backboard, dunking it, just showing the crowd a good time, it's kind of like what he can bring, getting them excited. The kid's unreal what he can do at his size. He has all the skill set to be one of these great players in the league for years to come.
Yeah, he's going to be amazing. I can't wait for this next season. I can't wait for the Olympics. I want to see how they play him. I hear that they're trying to play him as the 3 over in France.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to see how he does in that position.
Yeah, I might be
we played him at the 4 and the 5.
Man. I don't know about you.
What'd you say, sir?
I said I might be rooting for the French team myself. I don't know about you. The French team is looking pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'm definitely rooting for the French team. I know I'm American and everything like that, but I just feel like if France is going to do it, it's their time. It's their home court advantage. Let's go.
They got a hell
You
of a
know,
team, man.
the United States can win any other Olympics. You know,
Hey, so let's go ahead and start talking about the NBA playoffs. So we had some great games that occurred yesterday, you know, and the thing is that some of these games were really good. You know, I was watching, especially the Mavericks and that Clippers game. Man, that game was great. I mean, the Clippers, they had a lead there. They're going back and forth. In the third, quarter got a little interesting there. Mavs starting to make a little run. Fourth quarter got really interesting there as the Mavs finally were able to go ahead and best the Clippers, take that lead, and then it was just a shootout from there on out. They were trading shots, trading shots. One team would make a shot, the other Mavs would make a shot. But I got to tell you, the standout was going to be one Luka Doncic, man. I mean, he just put on a hell of a show. You see here, man, just what he was able to do, against the Clippers. I mean, it was like Luka versus the Clippers. He was taking them all on his own. Kyrie, he did help a little bit, but it was the Luka show in the fourth quarter, man.
yeah.
And Luka showed that he is him. He was making some big time shots, man. He was clutch down in that fourth quarter. And especially, I want to go ahead and show one play in particular, which was this one. Is Luka making this shot on James Harden, and then he says he's a mother effing asshole. Yeah, talk your shit, Luka. Talk your shit, Luka. I mean,
You gotta love Luka, man, and it's really cool seeing him and Kyrie like locked in, same mission. You know, like they've gotten over who's taking the shot. Just they were just going for it, and it's really cool watching that. And I hope that it's a good series, and I hope that the Clippers lose the series. And it's hard for me to say that I'm rooting for a Dallas Mavericks team, so I'm just saying I hope the Clippers lose. But it's been really fun watching these games. The Mavs are for real. You know, Luka's an MVP candidate. He's showing why. Kyrie is, one one of the best number two options in the league, I think. And as long as Daniel Gafford can stay healthy and Derek Lively can stay healthy, I think that they have a good chance. I think they have just as much of a chance of being in the Western Conference Finals as anyone else. I think any team is going to have a hard time beating Denver in a 7-game series, but I feel like if anyone could do it, it could probably be the Mavs. They just have enough offensive power, and I feel like they would give Luka a hard time with all their big guys, because now that Dallas has like 3 big guys that could get all their fouls against Jokic. So
yeah, look at Mike is in the chat here. Thanks for watching, Mike. He's probably watching this while he's working. Cool seeing all these playoff teams who got good free agent pickups along the years.
yeah.
And Midtown Texas says, I want Kyrie to win. And Mario Cavasso says, are the Clippers better without I think he's saying Kawhi? When Harden takes off his fat man suit, he balls, The thing is with Kawhi had no business being inserted into this game and playing meaningful minutes. He was coming back from injury, right? He hadn't played since, what was it, March the 31st? That's kind of a long time to come back in and immediately insert one of your best players who is going to be rusty, not going to be in game shape right now, and you're forcing him into that lineup and you're wanting him to produce. He didn't look good. It looked like he affected the team's chemistry. The Clippers look like an entirely different team with Kawhi in that lineup. He shouldn't have been there. I think they should have just said, you know what? Let's go ahead and like slowly bring him in. That way he's not messing with the team chemistry. I think it was a bad move.
Yeah, I know he was on a minute restriction, but I kind of feel like you got Kawhi, you're paying him all that money. If he's available, you should play him. But at the same time, maybe you shouldn't start him. Bring him off the bench, 15, 20 minutes, see how he does.
I agree. I think they should have started him because he did affect the chemistry of the game, as far as what the Clippers had going for them game 1 versus game 2. You saw that for yourself.
Yeah, I know that he had a minutes restriction. Let me see.
Yeah, he did. He just didn't look quite himself, man. He just didn't look quite right. Um, I think the team played better without Kawhi in the lineup. And the one thing that did surprise me about this Clippers team, even the Mavericks team, is the physicality of the game as it got
Uh-huh.
down into that fourth quarter. They were really starting to go at each other. And the cool thing is, Luka Doncic, they were really pressuring him up the court. They were getting him the full court press, and he still remained calm. He didn't overreact. He didn't get out of his character. He stayed calm. They went ahead and they give him a foul. They went ahead and inbounded the ball on the side. He stayed calm. He was telling his teammates, he was like, "Hey, stay calm. Everything's cool." And that's the cool thing that I like about Luka is, like, even though they're pressuring him, this is a big moment. The kid just remained calm, just knocked down shot after shot, and he had a great night, dude. Again, kudos to Luka and
Yeah.
the Mavs, man.
Yeah, for real. Luka was just amazing. I was just saying, like, he's gonna do his Luka thing because every time he takes a shot, I'm just like, is that gonna go in? And then sure enough, it goes in, and it's just like crazy, man. I'm just like, how's he do it? How's he do it? It's magic, man. But
Luka
Kawhi played
finished-
35 minutes.
Yo, did he?
I feel like that's too much right now. You could probably get that down to 20 minutes and take him out of the starting lineup. And you won that first game so handedly, and then to just see it turn around. And I know that the Mavericks had a horrible shooting night. Like if your name wasn't Luka or Kyrie, you had a bad night that first game. But at the same time, you won that game so handedly. The chemistry looked great. Kawhi is Kawhi. He can add a lot for the team, but he did kind of mess up that chemistry. So I wonder if they'll cut him back on the minutes next game. We'll see.
Yeah, Kawhi just had a kind of quiet night. He had 15 points on the night. Paul George had 22. Harden had 22. And that's about all she wrote. Not out of that, you had Zubac, which is their center. He had 13. And, the rest of the team contributed little points here and there. It was nothing as far as much fanfare. You got a couple
Well,
points.
Zubac had those 12 rebounds, so that's why he's in the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, he had those rebounds. Zubac was great at that. He was going up there. He was being physical, pulling down those rebounds. And he had some good dunks in that fourth quarter where he was getting, free. He was moving good without the ball, really well without the ball. They were able to find him for an easy dunk, which is great. Kept him in the game.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Zubac played great. You can't take nothing away from him. You got to look at free agent stuff because that new CBA kicks in next season. So a lot of teams are going to be getting rid of players. So Paul George, he's someone who they're probably going to move on from. And, Tavares said that the Spurs should sign him. I think that they should definitely take a look at it. There's going to be so many random people that get cut from their teams or traded or not given a new deal and all that kind of stuff. So, this is like the last chance before all the trade restrictions kick in with the new CBA. So it's going to be an interesting offseason.
Yeah, the one thing that to me is the Achilles heels right here for the Mavericks is if Luka and Kyrie aren't having a great night, they're going to need somebody else to step up there. And the one that stepped up for them last night was PJ Washington, who had 18 points on the night. Derrick Jones Jr. added 10. You had Luka with 32. Kyrie finished with 23. And that was about it. Like the supporting cast contributed, but they weren't in double digits. So the thing is, it looks like the scoring load is all Kyrie and Luka Doncic. If they're hot, this team has a great shot of winning. But if they're having an off shooting night and maybe they're just having a quiet 15 points or so, they're going to need somebody else to step up. And it's going to be interesting to see as you get, deeper into this series now with the Mavericks going home. What are the Clippers going to do to kind of adjust? Are they going to start putting the pressure more on Kyrie? Are they going to start double, triple teaming, Luka? What are they going to do to try to make it difficult for one or both of these players to shoot,
Yeah. Well, you can't. I mean, you have to pick your poison, right? Because Kyrie's just as capable of going off for 40 points,
Yeah.
So I don't know. They're gonna have to pick one player and just try to stop him. And I feel like if they can stop one of them, they have a good chance to win. And Daniel Gafford has been a nothing burger for the last 2 games, and he came back to the game yesterday, but he didn't score any points. He got a rebound and an assist, but he was one of the guys that made the team click. When they acquired him after the trade deadline, and he's just not doing his part. He could easily have another 15, 17 points.
Yeah, and to his
and
credit,
he's not doing his part. So he's got to step up. Dante Exum, he's kind of out of the rotation, but towards the end of the season, he was hitting big shots for them. So if need be, I could see them bringing him into the game and seeing if he could get some shots going. But it's going to be rough if Daniel Gafford doesn't figure out what's going on and how to play against this team. It's going to be rough for them because, like you said, they could just double team Kyrie or Luka and really take the points away from one of their players, and it sets them up in a good spot to win the game. So
yeah, and the thing
we'll see what happens. Someone's got to step up.
Yeah. With Daniel Gafford, I mean, to his credit, the guy only played like 9 minutes yesterday. Wasn't feeling it. They kind of, shut him down early. All right, man, let's get him out of the game. Let somebody else contribute. And PJ Washington had a good night. So hopefully the Mavericks can get some production out of Daniel Gafford, because the Clippers are getting some production out of Zubac. He's pulling at least down some rebounds and making some shots.
Yeah. Like, Zubac is so good, man. If he ever becomes available, I think every team's going to jump on him,
Yeah. Well, the other games that occurred yesterday, too, were the Suns and the Timberwolves game. The Timberwolves beat the Suns 105-93, take a 2-0 series lead. That's going to be interesting as well, because, I mean, are the Suns done at this point? Is there any life left?
I think so, man. Like, they just didn't look good. They didn't look as bad as like the Orlando Magic look, but they don't look like they have it, Like
I think Tavares said it best. Suns look old,
Yeah. Yeah, they do kind of look old. They look like they just look like they don't know what to do, and like you can see the frustration on their face and stuff. They just don't look like they have what it takes to beat this team. Maybe if they would have had a better seeding or whatever, you could say, but they were going to have to play these guys eventually. But they just don't look like they have what it takes to beat this team. And we'll see what they play like in Phoenix, but I don't see it being that big of a difference. Like, the Minnesota Timberwolves were the #1 defensive team all season, and it kind of shows in the playoffs. I really saw like KD and Bradley Beal get frustrated in this last game. So
yeah. So
it's just gonna be it'll be weird to see if they can adjust. Like, Grayson Allen was not playing well. He only had 3 points. They kept Bradley Beal under 20 points. Nurkic got the rebounds for him, but you gotta put up more than 10 points, especially if your main 3-point threat only hit 1 shot all game. Someone's got to step up, and I just don't see them coming back. I mean, they held KD, Bradley Beal under 20, and they held Devin Booker to 20. I mean, the Timberwolves are just a really good defensive team, and I think it's going to...
By the final score, they were holding the Suns under 100.
Yeah. This is crazy. Like, I was expecting a more competitive series. I thought this was going to be a 6-7 game series, and I just don't think the Suns have what it takes. Maybe they can do a gentleman's sweep and steal a game, but I just think that the Timberwolves have their number.
Was it that Shaq said that Bol is a better version of Wemby? And what happened yesterday? Bol only put up 2 minutes and 0 points. He got 2 rebounds. I'm like, Shaq, is this your king? Really? You know, you're gonna go ahead and say
Yeah.
something like that? And I'm like, come on,
Yeah,
man.
well, I don't know if Shaq meant like we've never seen a player like Wemby, and Shaq just thought we've never seen a player that looks like Wemby or something like that. I don't know what that was, man. I've never seen someone with such a bad take. Like that's a really bad take.
Yeah,
Like
well,
if there's
there's
a bad take award, Shaq might win it. He might be in minutes for this one. You
yeah,
know?
well, there was another game that happened as well, and that was going to be the Pacers and the Bucks. I'm going to be honest here, man. I didn't think that the Bucks would lose this bad to the Pacers, but they did. It was a final score of 125 to 108. The Pacers bested the Bucks to tie the series one apiece. I don't know if this bodes well for the Bucks because this is just giving the Pacers all sorts of
Yeah.
confidence right here. And if you look in the past and what has happened to the Bucks in the playoffs, this could be a momentum swinger. You know, so I'm thinking that if the Pacers they can go ahead and gain some confidence from this, they might be feeling really good about themselves, man. What do you think?
Yeah, I actually picked the Pacers to win this series. I had no faith in the Bucks, especially the way they ended the season, and just they were a clear second place, and then they fell down to third. I'm just like, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on. And then they locked in that first game, and Dame time went off for like 30 points in the first half. Okay, maybe I was wrong, but this game two, the Pacers came back and Pascal Siakam went off for 37 points, double-double with 11 rebounds. Tyrese Halliburton had a double-double, 12 and 12, assists, not rebounds. And, it's just I don't know. This could be an interesting series.
It could be.
If, the Bucks can get it together, if Giannis can be healthy and all that stuff, it could be a nice 6-7 game series, and we'll see who comes out on top. But without Giannis, I don't have that much faith in Damian Lillard to just beat the Pacers by himself, especially when the Pacers are having games like this with a balanced attack. Andrew Nembhard and Miles Turner both having over 20 points in the game. They're getting contribution from everybody, and the Bucks are leaning too heavy on Dame. So they really need Giannis back. If he comes back and he's playing well, it could be a good 6-7 game series. But if the Pacers keep playing like that, I think that might be a gentleman's sweep. We'll see.
Well, I think it's going to be a good series. I don't think that the Pacers are just going to run away with it. I think it's going to be a heated battle here. I think it could go 6 or 7 easy. I'm looking forward to it because they're being competitive. Both teams want to win, and Dame, he's one of these guys that you can't discount in the playoffs, man. He's Dame Dollar for a reason. He shines in the playoffs, man. And I mean, he did put up 34 points. Can Siakam go ahead and keep on putting up 37 points every single game? I don't know about that, man.
Yeah, I don't know about that either. But like I said, without Giannis, I feel like the Bucks are depending too much on Dame. When he comes back, we'll see if they can even it out a little bit and have a 1-2 punch. But we'll see, man. I feel like I picked the Pacers to win because of the way the Bucks ended the season, just on a downward trajectory. But we'll see. I should have known that Damian Lillard would, zone in, playoff time, lock in, and go off like he did in that game one. But we'll see if they can do that all playoffs. And
that Sith says, Dame time is playoff time. No lies detected in that statement. And look, he says Dame is more than capable of leading the squad. That's true as well. We'll see, man.
We'll see. It's time to put up or shut up,
We have some games that are going to be played today. We have the Pelicans and the Thunder. That's going to be a great game as well. That's going to happen at 8:30 today. And the early game is going to be the Heat and the Celtics. This one is going to be a boring series. Because to me, the Celtics, they should just run away with this, man. There's just no way that the Heat are going to be able to contend with the plethora of talent that the Celtics have. The Heat can be a scrappy team and they can keep things close, but I think the Celtics are going to be able to pull away in this series and be the victor. You might be looking at a gentleman's sweep here. Boston does lead this series 1-0, you know. And then you also have some other games that are going to be happening tomorrow. Full disclosure here, I think I'm going to start shutting things down after this show. I might want to take a day or two off, you know, because it's going to be the last weekend of Fiesta. So the games that are going to be happening tomorrow, you got the Cavs, the Magic, Knicks, and 76ers. That one's surprising to me. I didn't think the Knicks were going to be this good and best the Sixers by going up on them 2-0. Hey, I'm happy about it. And then Friday,
The Sixers are cooked, man.
yeah, man. And then Friday, you got the Nuggets and the Lakers. The Lakers are cooked at this point. And then, of course, you're going to have the Bucks and the Pacers to end the week there on Friday, along with the Clippers and the Mavs and the Timberwolves and the Suns. So that's going to be very interesting to see how all these things pan out. I think we're going to start seeing a lot of teams going up either 2-0 or you're going to see the 1-1 and it's going to go back and forth. So I'm here for it. I love this time of year when it comes to the NBA playoffs.
I need the Mavs to win, and I need the Nuggets to win because I want there to be no big market West Coast teams in the playoffs. What's ESPN going to talk about now? You know what I mean? So
yeah. Look at
that's what I
we
need.
have a comment here, Matt. We have Drummers Seb watching us here on YouTube. He says, "I don't believe the Bucks will be consistent enough to beat the Pacers," and that's kind of what you just said as well. You know?
Yeah. Well, I think the Bucks could win. They still have Dame. They have Pat Bev. If Giannis comes back, they have a chance. But I just don't know if Dame is going to be enough to beat a team with a balanced attack.
Yeah.
If it comes down to Tyrese versus Dame, I give it to Dame. But if it's Dame versus 4 or 5 guys that are scoring 20 points, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. And one thing is for certain, though, the second round of the playoffs, when we get there, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be insane. They're going to have a lot of teams that are going to really go at it, and I think that second round, you're going to have some really interesting matchups. I'm looking forward to it, man. I am. I really am.
It's going to be fun. I think, I don't know if you know this about me, but I actually was when I lived in Oklahoma, I was part of the the committee to help bring the NBA to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And I gather signatures and stuff and got it on the ballot and all that stuff. And so I have a lot of Thunder fans who are my friends, and they're really enjoying being back in the playoffs and stuff. But it's just one of those things, man. SGA is gonna go crazy tonight. I don't know how many points he's gonna get. Someone asked me, but this Pels team was really scrappy in game 1 and kept it close. So it should be an interesting series. I would look for the Pels to strike back. I don't know. Every time I've tried to have faith in the Pels, they let me down. But we'll see if Brandon Ingram can lead the team to a win and make it an interesting series because they are the youngest 1 seed in all of NBA history, right? So
yeah,
I think a lot of people are kind of counting the Thunder out, saying that they'll be a first or second round exit, and that's acceptable, I guess, for such a young team. But they also lock down and they play well, and they play together, and I never see them hang their heads or have any doubt, or the lights don't seem too bright for them. So it should be a good series, but we'll see if the Pels can get a win tonight. And a lot of people are questioning Brandon Ingram's ability to perform in the playoffs and stuff. So it's a big game for him as well.
Yeah, look at what Hanover Fitz says. He says, "Thunder team is scary, bro. They got a lot of talent there on the Thunder team. The only thing that you can say is a knock against the Thunder is inexperience because they are such a young team. So when they get battle tested, we'll see what they do. in my opinion, I think they can be a scary team. I think that they can be a team that might be able to sneak in all the way to the Western Conference Finals, but we're going to see what they do as a collective unit because it's going to get harder. Every round is going to get more difficult for this Thunder team, especially being so young. I think some of that, let's say, inexperience is going to show through.
They're going to have to make some adjustments because, if they do make it all the way to the Western Conference Finals, I'd be shocked. I'd be surprised if Josh Giddey is still starting. He's just like if there's any squeaky wheel on that team, it's Josh Giddey. And he's just not on the same level as the rest of the starting lineup. And
he's streaky, dude. He can get hot, but he's not consistent.
Yeah. So it's just, I don't know. I think that Case and Wallace might be a better option for them in that spot. And I feel like the Thunder, if they don't make it all the way to the finals or to the Western Conference Finals, I think they'll regroup and they'll be right back at it next season. I feel like I don't want to misspeak. Give me 1 second. Let me look something up.
Sure. Hey, I'm going to give a shout out here.
Yeah, Jokic is 29. If he plays 4 or 5 more years, retires at 35 or something, I think the playoffs, the road to the finals will probably go through San Antonio and OKC at that point. If you want to make it to the finals, you're going to have to either beat the Thunder with SGA and Chet and Jalen Williams, or you're going to have to beat the Spurs with Wemby and Sohan and whoever else we bring, because we're going to have to get some help. But
yeah, no doubt.
It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, I wanted to give a shout out to my boy Tex-Mex Frank because I'm wearing the hat that I bought at the Mike Taylor barbecue. It says Texican. So if you're interested in buying one of these nice hats here, you go hit up my boy Tex-Mex Frank. You can find him on the X, man. He has some great stuff, man. I bought this, and I took a picture of something else I had bought over at the Mike Taylor barbecue. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it or I'm going to give it away. But there was a guy that I met over there, and he does these really good, like, wood cutouts, and it's amazing, like, how precise he is, because I thought it was, like, all lasered or something like that. He goes, no, bro, I do this on a jigsaw. I'm like, damn, dude, that's some quality work. So what I got is, like, a sign. It's all done in, wood. It's, been jigsawed out and whatnot. And it's this old Spurs logo. It's a San Antonio Spurs, silver black, something that anybody would be proud to put up in their man cave, So I don't know if I'm going to keep it. I'm kind of leaning towards it, or do I give it away? Well, we'll see what I decide, man. I'm on the cusp. I'm on the cusp of deciding what I want to do with that. Is it a giveaway, or what are we going to do,
Man, if you give it to the people, I'm sure whoever gets it will be grateful,
Oh, yeah.
That kind of art is great, man. Someone who could make something like that with their hands is crazy.
Oh, yeah. There's the guy's name, Tex-Mex Frank. Fred Jones does the cuts. Yeah, man. That guy, he's talented, man. Really cool dude. I met him. Everybody there at that Mike Taylor barbecue that I was going at and just popping into the little tents and sampling the food and whatnot and talking with them. They were such great people, especially Tex-Mex Frank too, and the Bermeas, man. Appreciate the hospitality. But as we start moving on with the show here, I want to go ahead and give some love to our boy, Jeff Garcia of Locked On Spurs. I know that he has a new episode of Locked On Spurs that just dropped today. So make sure you go and check that out. But again, we're going to go ahead and give Jeff some love. Locked On Spurs is your daily Spurs podcast, hosted by Jeff Garcia, the lead Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Jeff has a healthy plethora of guests all the time on the Locked On Spurs podcast. You can also follow Jeff on Threads at Jeff G Ken's 5 SA. You can also follow Jeff on Twitter at Jeff G Spurs Zone. So make sure you go ahead and give Jeff a follow not only on Threads and Twitter, but also on YouTube at youtube.com/@Locked On Spurs. This is where you're going to be able to find the replay of the Locked On Spurs podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Yeah, and speaking of Jeff Garcia, if you go over and you check him out on the X, again, you can go follow him at Jeff G Spurs Zone. he went ahead and released a brand new episode of the Locked On Spurs podcast. And today's guest is none other than Jack Thompson from ESPN San Antonio Radio. So you can go ahead and check that out. And they're talking about NBA, should I say Spurs NBA draft prospects. They're going to shine the spotlight on one Zachary Richer. So you can go ahead and check that out. And also, again, make sure you go and subscribe to Jeff as well, because he has the Locked On Spurs podcast over on YouTube. So you can subscribe to his YouTube channel. So let's go ahead and talk now about some Dallas Cowboys. We're going to get into some Cowboy talk about Jerry, and some of his comments that he had here. So this was interesting to me. Jerry doubled down on his "we're all in," because a reporter had went ahead and asked him a question in regards to them basically doing nothing in the offseason while other teams are making some moves. And, you saw this article as well, and it was Jerry saying, they're going to have some cap hits. They're going to have some cap situations in this offseason. And what's going on with the Cowboys is that they really don't have a lot of money to go around. They really can't do anything at this point. And the thing is, Jerry and the front office, they're making poor decisions. They could have extended CeeDee Lamb. They could have extended Dak Prescott if they were wanting to do that, and maybe go ahead and spread that salary over a number of years versus a short period of time. Kind of save themselves a little bit of money. Maybe they can go ahead and go after some other players. The Cowboys lost 5 players in the offseason. That's like the third worst that the Cowboys have ever done in the offseason, losing that many players at any given time. And there was an article that was on CBS Sports, and in the article, it would kind of highlight some of the things that Jerry Jones was saying, And the reporter that asked him, "You're not really doing anything," he said, "What in the world would you think that we're not working on it?" Jerry says, "I work on it at 2 a.m. sometimes. What your actual question is why don't you have something done and negotiated and put in the drawer?" He says, "We'd like to see some more leaves fall." What leaves do you want to fall? You've lost 5 players already, Jerry. What are you talking about? We'd like to see some more action. You give
Who else has to fall?
somebody. Yeah, he said you give money to somebody that you shouldn't have given it to say that you're not working on it or going is not the right answer. He says the difference is the style. I'm like, Jerry, what are you saying, dude? What is Jerry smoking?
I don't know, man. I think I told you before we started that he sounds like, like one of those rich kids that like starts a company with their parents' money, and it's just like, I work so hard. I don't know why everybody doesn't see how hard I'm working. Just like, I don't know, man. It's just, I feel like he needs to fire himself. I know he said he'll never fire himself, but he went on to say in the article, like, I'm not a GM that's here for a 5-year term or whatever. I'm like, well, maybe you should get one of those guys, because you're not doing it. He's like,
by not doing nothing, Matt, they're setting themselves up for failure. You haven't done any off-season moves. You haven't gone after anybody. You're losing players already. The team is becoming porous. They're becoming worse. This signals everything to me that this season has all the makings, Matt, of a 7-win team. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I don't want to shit on the team too much, but, I wouldn't be surprised if they were like a 7-8 win team. They lost some key pieces. They not adding anybody of significance. It just, that those types of things have consequences, and you can't be saved by the draft. So.
Oh my God!
10 wins. Well, good luck to you, brother.
We're signing Ocho Cinco, Bobby Boucher, Shane Falco, Airbud.
Hey man, Airbud will take you to a championship. I saw that movie.
Yeah, remember that black cat that came out years ago during that Cowboys game against the Giants? That after the cat came out on the field, the team started winning, and the game kind of changed its momentum in favor of the Cowboys. I remember watching that game. Maybe they need to sign the cat. If we can get him.
Yeah, sign that cat. Somebody find that cat. We need that cat.
Yeah, but I mean, basically, this Jerry Jones, his comments, and just reading this, it's depressing, man. If you're a Cowboys fan, and to add insult to injury, look at what RJ Ochoa says. Um, Reggie Bush, he's referring to Reggie Bush, right? Because we're going to get into that right now as well. Bush played his entire high school career, entire collegiate career, won a natty, won the Heisman, was drafted, won the Super Bowl, had his Heisman taken away, then had his Heisman restored before the Cowboys reached the NFC Championship game. Oh my God, dude. Are you kidding me? I mean, this is ridiculous, dude.
I co-sign that. Don't be mad at me. Ryan Ochoa said it.
Ochoa said it, man. But I'm like, all this happened, right, to one Reggie Bush. Cowboys still ain't got into the NFC Championship game. You know, even with the plethora of talent that they've had in years past, Dak is not that guy, man. I don't care what Cowboys fans say. Dak is not that guy. Jerry overpaid for Dak when he had the opportunity to go ahead and make a critical decision. He decided to go all in with Dak and Zeke. Those decisions right there, in my opinion, are where we're at right now. You know, bad decision making by Jerry Jones. Oh man,
who do you think he should have got for the quarterback?
That's interesting, man. That's interesting. At the time, there was really no one that would come to mind that they could have really gone after, you know? So he did the best that he could. But the thing is, I think he just made a poor decision in signing Zeke. He should have let Zeke go. He paid something like 90-something mil for extending Zeke. You don't pay that much for running backs. Running backs are a dime a dozen, dude. You know? And Zeke, he wasn't quite the same after he got his money. He just showed that he wasn't the same type of player. His speed started leaving him. He was basically good for you getting near the goal line. You're, you know, at first and goal, and you need 2 or 3 yards to punch it in, give it to Zeke. But he didn't have that burst anymore. You know, he kind of lost that. And he just wasn't the same type of player. You know, that's why the Cowboys went ahead and let him go.
He was no Elliott Smith, you know?
Yeah, exactly, man. So Cowboys, they're a product of their own devices by making poor decisions that affect their future. I think Jerry right now, with that big cap hit that they're going to have coming up, I mean, they're really stuck. They really can't do anything at this point. If you're going to wind up giving away your future and maybe trading, you know, and giving away some picks, you're not going to have those picks in the upcoming years if you're going to go and get somebody if you do it that way. I mean, the only things that you can see is, are the Cowboys going to take a bath and just let Dak walk for nothing? You know, is that on the table?
Yeah, I mean, he could walk. I don't know. If Dak walks, I think Jerry's going to have to stop giving the University of Arkansas money and start paying for some Cowboy fans therapy or something, because it's really crazy.
Oh, look at this. I like this comment. Hand over fist. Hot Boys Cat. I remember that. That's when they were the Hot Boys. I remember that. And then we have Sid saying Rain Dakota Prescott was in the MVP talks last season. He was, but did he win it? No, because he couldn't win the big game. You know, I don't want to hear that, Dak, for MVP. He ain't my MVP.
Anyone can talk about being the MVP, but only one player can be the MVP.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't Dak. Dakota Rain Prescott. It was not him. I'm not a fan of Dak, man, because like I said before, I have no faith in him. He can't win the big game when it matters, you know? You can win all the games you want in the regular season. That's not what you're going to be gauged at the end of your career. You're going to be looked upon.
Do the Cowboys still only have one playoff win for like the last 30 years or whatever? Yeah.
Yeah, it's been bad, Matt. It's been bad. Cowboy fans, it's always our year. You know, they say that every year when they get a couple wins under their belt. It's our year. We're going to go. But the thing with the Cowboys is that they never seem to beat the good teams. They can lay waste to the teams with losing records, but when they go up against the upper echelon talent, they kind of fold a little bit, like a cheap $5 folding chair, you know? That's Dakota Rain Prescott for you. But let's go ahead and talk about some Reggie Bush here. Reggie Bush, man, good news. You know, we're going to go from talking Dallas Cowboy talk to now something better, which is Reggie Bush. He's actually going to get his 2005 Heisman Trophy back, and he's put ESPN has learned with the formal reinstatement of the trophy coming today. The decision comes amid what the Heisman Trust calls enormous changes in the college football landscape. You know what we can say? It was about damn time they go ahead and give Reggie Bush back his Heisman Trophy. He shouldn't have had it taken away to begin with, because this practice of players taking money was going on for a long time. The only difference is Reggie Bush got caught. So did Johnny Manziel, getting caught signing autograph merchandise for money and whatnot. I mean, these guys are trying to make money at that point in time because they didn't have the NIL deals that they have now. I mean, this was something that was going on behind the scenes. Bush got caught. He's still a good player. You can't take that away from him. I think they're doing the right thing here, Matt.
Yeah, I never agreed with those rules about players not being able to make money, selling their autographs or whatever. I was always against it. You know, I always thought that it was unfair that the colleges could make all this money off of these guys' names and all that stuff, but they couldn't benefit anything. I just thought that was weird. So, you know, I think it's been a long time coming. I never recognized, I don't know who it was that took his spot for the Heisman, but I never recognized it. I was just like, Reggie Bush won. So, and if I remember correctly, the person they gave it to didn't want it. He was like, I don't want this. so like,
look at what Chris Gonzalez says. Do we have another ceremony for Reggie? I think you do.
We should. I mean, he could at least have like a online ceremony, you know, just
yeah. What are they going to come out and say? We're sorry. We're sorry. Here's your trophy back. You know, I mean,
yeah. We were kind of dicks about that. Sorry, man. Here's your trophy back.
Yeah, man. We didn't mean to do that to you. Sorry, but here's your trophy back, man. You know what? I want to go ahead and roast Jimenez as we start bringing the show to a close here, as we start getting near the end of it. He went ahead and put that he just got a special pat down again. How many times can they pat this brother down, dude? For the 5th time in his lifetime, he was asked by the TSA if he wanted to go someplace private. And he just says, just touch my junk. Oh, my God. No.
Stop looking so suspicious, man.
I'm like, bro, just tell him that's just
no matter where he goes, he looks a little sus. That's why they pat him down.
knowing Jimenez, he said something stupid. And they said, what is that? Oh, that's just my panza. The bigger the panza, the bigger the chanza. Get out of line, sir. Get out of line, sir. We're going to have to pat you down. You know, I'm just like, does he look suspicious? Is that it? You know, I don't know.
I think that's what it is. He looks sus, man. He's like in the line, like, oh man, they think I got a gun or something.
I said Jimenez looks suspect over there in line trying to get on the plane. I'm like, dude, come on, man. Hey, but you know what? Before we go ahead and start bringing the show to an end, because we got one more thing we're going to talk about, I want to give some love to my boy Chris Leja at MCS General Contracting. MCS General Contracting, more than 30 years of combined experience in concrete placement. They are the best in the business, honest pricing, high quality work. They get going on house foundations, driveways, concrete patio decks. If you want to extend the deck, extend the driveway. If you're a business and you need to put together a slab, a parking lot, or other concrete placement services or sidewalks, reach out to MCS General Contracting at 210-774-9155. They're confident in their skills, so give Chris Leja over at MCS General Contracting a call at 210-774-9155. And thank you for being a sponsor of this show. Okay, so we're going to get into a little bit of equality talk here when it comes to WNBA versus NBA. So I saw this earlier today, and it came out on News 4 San Antonio. They went ahead and shared this side-by-side comparison with one Caitlin Clark, who got her rookie deal, reportedly valued at somewhere around the neighborhood of $338 million. And then you got for 4 seasons, and then you got Victor Wembanyama, who came in as a rookie, and it was offered $55.1 million over 4 seasons. Fair or unfair to you, Matt Lerma?
I mean, I think it's fair. Like, you know, I know a lot of people say, like, Clayton Clark's not making enough or whatever, but, you know, $338,000 for 4 years, that's way more than a lot of other WNBA players are getting paid right now. So that's a good deal. She got her $28 million Nike contract. They announced that today. So, she's making money. She's going to be the face of that league. Her and Angel Reese, I think, are going to have a lot of good battles and do a lot of good for that league. And, people, you have to walk before you can run, so to speak. And I just feel like, she's going to pave the way for a lot more money to be made in the WNBA. And, she's going to be seen not necessarily as a pioneer, not like she's not a swoops or whatever, but she's going to be seen as the catalyst for the change of the WNBA, making all the money that she's making is going to make it possible for the next big name to come out of the NCAA to say, well, I'm at least as popular as this, so I should get this much, So it's going to be interesting to see if she can, take the league new places. And Wemby is going to be the first he's going to be the first NBA billionaire. He's going to be the first guy to get $1 billion from salary just by signing contract extensions. He's going to qualify for the Supermax and all that. So we'll be setting a new tone for the NBA, and Caitlin's going to be setting the new tone for the WNBA. And, it seems like a big disparity right now, but, the NBA players weren't getting paid much when the NBA was in their 28th year either. So, it's just, you have to grow your brand, and I think Caitlin Clark is going to help do that.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think what she's getting paid right now is because she is going to be one of these generational type players that's going to have a dramatic impact on the WNBA moving forward. You got an influx of this young talent coming into the WNBA that's bringing a lot of the fan base in now, the younger fan base, because they're excited to see that switch, because you have all these players that have had heated battles over in playing against one another in college basketball, right? Now that they're coming into the WNBA, they're bringing those fans. And not only that, but Caitlin Clark, as good as she is, she's kind of the WNBA's version of Steph Curry. And she just finished signing a deal, I believe, with Nike, just like, Wemby did. And I believe Nike signed her for a little bit over 20-something $million. And she's going to have she's going to have her own exclusive shoe as well. So she's going to be making bank, man, beyond the 338 million. She's going to have so many endorsement deals. She's going to be in commercials. She's going to be plastered everywhere, dude. I wouldn't be surprised if that 338 million that she's due over 4 seasons is going to balloon to something insane with all her other deals, to where she's getting close to almost $1 billion, bro.
The WNBA is going to have to change because, like they're also like catering towards a woman's audience as well. And like Kev on stage, he ordered a WNBA jersey. I forgot the player, but he ordered a jersey because he liked the player, and when it came in, it didn't fit him because it was a woman's size. And so they're gonna have to change because they're gonna get a lot more fans. Especially with Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Plum is getting more popular. Angel Reese is there now. Paige is coming next season, so all these players are going to boost the popularity. They're going to have a lot more eyes on them. They're going to be a lot more people trying to buy merch, and so it's going to be an interesting time of growth for the WNBA, and hopefully they don't fumble it and they lean into what they need to lean into. And I just hope the best for them. I know that those women athletes put in all the work that the men athletes do, and they just don't get the same recognition. So it's nice to see, steps in the right direction.
Yeah, man. Definitely, I think that things are going in the right direction for both players, not only for Caitlin, but also for Wemby. And they're getting paid what, respectfully, what they should be getting paid. Caitlin, again, is going to bring in that big audience. Wemby, he's going to go ahead and bring in that national audience that Spurs fans so highly covet, going back and getting those nationally covered games that they were not getting before. But I think, Wemby's going to be a player that's going to actually get, like you said, a Supermax deal in the near future here. I think the Spurs will probably extend him sooner rather than later, because if they wait, he can get a high asking price if you let him go out in the open market. Then you're going to really have to overpay for him, you know?
No,
So,
yeah, they'll sign his extension probably in 2026,
yeah, I
and
think so is
then
too.
he'll be making like 60 something million a year. And then, eventually it'll be crazy. He'll be making like 80 million a year, 90 million a year. Like when he signs his second contract, he'll be in that range. So he's going to be the first NBA billionaire off a salary. And he already has that $100 million Nike deal. And that kid's going to be so rich, man.
Oh,
So,
yeah, no doubt, man. Hey, but as we bring the show to an end here, do you want to go ahead and let us know what you have what you're working on? Because I know you do a lot of the spaces, and now you're doing a new podcast. Maybe you should tell us about that.
yeah. So, I'm the Spurs Spaces guy. Like if you want to talk about the Spurs on Twitter or X or whatever you're calling it these days, follow me. My handle is the name that you see on the screen here. And then me and Sith in the comments, we're starting a NFL-based podcast called the No Punts Podcast. You can find us on X at No Punts Pod. So go ahead and give us a follow. We're going to be doing our first show soon. We're going to react to the draft after all the rounds are done. We're going to kind of break down our thoughts on our teams. I didn't have an NFL team. I just liked watching football, but I decided I needed a team, so I left it up to my friends on X to decide who I should root for, and they picked the Seahawks. I don't know if they were helping me or hating on me, but it's gonna be a fun season. I've never had one team that I root for before, so it'll be interesting to see how that changes my view on things and stuff. But it's gonna be a fun podcast. It's gonna be, just two guys having fun talking about football. We're both not overly analytical nerds or anything like that. So if you just want to have some fun football conversations, come check us out. We're gonna be making the announcement on the first episode soon, and it's gonna be fun. So I hope you guys all come and follow and join. And we're also gonna be doing, conversations with about the NFL on X as well. So, just follow me, follow Sif, and we'll bring you into the fold, and we'll have some good conversations throughout the season.
Yeah, so sounds good, man. Make sure you follow Matt at Matt Lerma _PS. So you can follow him on the X, and make sure you go and tune into the spaces that he has. Really good time, going ahead and talking with other fans, and no one is judged. You can say what you want, but be ready, because whatever you say is going to have some rebuttal. So
Oh yeah.
it's always fun, man. So for Matt Lerma, I'm Joe Garcia. Thank you guys again for tuning in, watching, supporting us, and giving all these comments here. Greatly appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you boys again. I don't know if we're going to be tomorrow or be Friday, because now everybody wants us to do a show to kind of have a recap of the NFL draft that's going to be occurring on Thursday. So we'll see what we're going to do, but I'll let you guys definitely know. So we'll see you guys maybe on Thursday or Friday. We'll make that announcement. Have a great day, everyone. We're out. Peace.